Just sit on the fence, afraid of the past, afraid of the future. Watching the world go by so fast, you understood ya. Nobody told me life up here was a vacation. Hope I get old before I die, my generation. All of these voices and all the people men, still the kid with the bass guitar. Still got a mission. You tie me down with these golden chains to many conditions. Give me a stage, give me 4 strings, someone to listen. Give me a song, any fool can sing, and the right musician. All of these voices and all the people men.
Wow, that was good timing. If I can make the song not play again. No. Oh, I stopped it. Oh, it is. No, you don't want to play it here either. All right, let me pull it. I'm trying to do the totally coordinated show, but you know what they say, anything goes. It's Wednesday,
That's right.
so anything goes. And if the show stops for any reason, it could be because Johnny's doing a solo. Wow, it's heavy weather here, man. I love a good thunderstorm. Just probably not in the middle of the show. I was just in my little dressing room area, and I heard the closest, loudest clap of thunder I think I've ever heard in my life. Scary, scary stuff.
It's like it's thundering everywhere.
Is it thundering?
Chris Chanel has it in Rhode Island. Sue has it in Pennsylvania. Kitty has it in Detroit. We have it.
It's an Entwistle thing, I'm telling you.
That's weird.
That was, yeah, when it thunders, think of John Entwistle. Okay, so yeah, I got an Entwistle show for you guys tonight. I have some stuff that you probably haven't seen, some stuff that you might have seen, stuff that you might not have seen. And what is the reason for this all Entwistle show? Well, because I can. And because I signed off on the final mastering of Oxzoom Volume 1 today. So you guys have 13, lucky 13 tracks coming your way with a whole lot of cool stuff going along with it. And we're all really excited to see this thing get out there. People have been asking for Entwistle material for a long time. And I will tell you this, that it's Volume 1 for a reason. Oh, really? Well, yeah, it's not like I don't have 100 live shows from every year we ever played,
Right.
but there's still some, I have surprises. For Volume 2, because the one thing you don't want to do is you don't want to put out a 2-volume set and then shoot your whole game on Volume 1. Now, there's some cool stuff on Volume 1. There's some unreleased stuff, some never before heard live performances, and unreleased versions of songs. It was a labor of love. It's the first Entwistle record that I've done in the past 20 years that didn't choke me up. I mean, I must admit, when I hear him say my name on stage, I get a little,
Oh, Pat Curry, thunderstorm watch in Michigan.
I'm telling you, Pat, huh?
The only place it's not is Mark Visconti said not in New York.
Oh, wow. No Entwistle fans in New York? How could that be possible? He's saving the good stuff for you guys. That's what it is.
Yeah.
So, I'm looking through my stuff today, and, I'm trying to come out, anything goes. So I figured, all right, anything goes. And because I signed off on Volume 1, and because we're working on the way, there's a whole bunch of stuff happening. I mean, this is not just, hey, let's spit out a record. I am so proud to be signed to Decco for a couple of different projects. But it's man, they're just doing such a great job. They have such an amazing musician-friendly presence in the marketplace. It's I know that John would be very proud. So,
Yes.
and he'll confirm that by not knocking out the power.
That's right. Oh, Mr. OG in the house.
OG. Oh, okay. Did you bring a helmet there, OG? Because you're gonna need one. What? Okay, so I don't remember what order I put things in.
I
Do you?
do.
Okay.
Okay.
And just remember, if the power goes out, the program stops. Either John struck me or the power went out. But stay tuned because we'll try to reconnect. For now,
Now
We're
we're
all
going to play
what are we playing now?
John's bass solo with the John Entwistle Band from Kane's Ballroom.
Kane's Ballroom. Anybody at that show? Pat, you might have been at that show.
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa.
Yes.
Yeah. This is now, of course, this is home movies, not, not all. I have some cool stuff too. But this is interesting because if you didn't see this, this was the original 96 Left for Dead tour. So I'll stop talking and Johnny can start playing.
Okay.
A little cinematic genius there for you. Oh,
That's
man.
it. He said, awesome!
Cool. Glad you dug it. Now I'll tell you something else. This is the tour where the videos were made. This is the part, Tulsa. We went to Texas. So this is either before those rather sordid videos or after those rather sordid. But man, this was the most fun that it was. Everybody was having a good time. It was really cool. It was that was a great way to start, the band up again, and good times. So, and what was I going to say about? I don't know. Anyway, it's I watched that and it just takes me right back to there, and those were great fun times. You'll see some other stuff. I think I have some other stuff from that incarnation of the band. The only difference really was Alan St. John on keyboards. Played with Billy Squire. I think he played with Bolton, and he was in Swift Kick. So for you Long Island regulars, there was that. And he was, because Alan sang, the whole band sang. It wasn't like you would come to the show expecting to see John sing all the songs, which he would have done, when he did his solo tours. He would have been the front man, lead guy. But when everybody was singing, when Alan was singing, we were able to do John's material from The Rock, which we did on that tour, and it was fun. It was a fun band, and we had a good time together. There was no bullshit, just guys out playing music and enjoying doing it.
As it should be.
As it should, yeah, as it always should be. But it's not always that way.
No.
It's just not always that way. But
okay.
but if you ever have to have that, because I know something about being in a band where everything is not comfortable, and that's not just any one band. It's probably every band I've ever been in. There's been a point where it's like, but that point lasts longer, except in the Entwistle band. I mean, I don't know about the other guys, but John and I never had a harsh word in all the years that we worked together.
No. Oh, Frank Feeney says that Swift Kick used to play at Summers in Fort Lauderdale.
Yes, they did. If it was the same one with Alan, so wasn't Tony in that band too?
Tony Bruno.
Tony Bruno?
Right. Yes, he was.
All the Long Island rock stars. We just line them right up, as you can see behind me. So let's see. Yeah, Entwistle, man. Let's.
Next on the hit list.
What is next on the hit list?
It would be the John Entwistle Band
No.
at the Woodstock reunion.
Oh, because we were talking. Yeah, okay. This is Gerardo. If you're watching, this is my shot at Woodstock, pal. 30 years later. Not quite what yours was, but I'll do this one for you, bro, because this was Woodstock '99.
And it's Summertime Blues.
Yeah, because that's what you have when it's 105 degrees on an Air Force base. You have these summertime blues. Okay, here we go.
And we got him today. This one's for you, Woodstock. summertime. Well, my mama and papa told me, son, you gotta earn some money. If you want to use a car to go running next Sunday. Well, I didn't go to work, and Bob one day he said, sometimes I wonder what I'm gonna do. There ain't no cure for the summertime. But I'm too busy getting a blowjob. Ain't no cure for the summertime. Thank you.
As we orbit through space.
Yes. So
Would you-
yeah,
And okay, now did you see the shirt? That's the shirt.
that is the shirt. That
There
was
were
his
there were
favorite.
two. Now there's only one. He liked that shirt so much that he was cremated in it.
True.
True, absolutely true. That was one of the weirdest things that. Well, but Woodstock,
Nice transition there.
another cremation. It was 100.
So hot.
It was 105 degrees. This was the famous 105 degree 1999 summer where we played all outdoor festivals and
And John didn't sweat.
John didn't sweat. I mean, he took it a little easy. He had the sleeveless jean jacket on, but most of these shows he wore his leather.
Well,
Okay. And he said, you don't sweat if you wear layers. Well, no. Why wear
worked
layers?
for him.
Well. And he couldn't stand to be warm. He hated warm.
And every hotel room he got had the broken air conditioner.
He always got the broken air conditioner. Steve!
Because he liked it cold.
Yeah. And, I mean, sometimes it wouldn't break until the next day because he would just turn it on, like, whatever, as low as it went and up all the way. It's,
Yep, TV as loud as it'll go.
yeah. You could always find John's room by just listening for the television.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, okay. Is there a movie theater here? No. And Woodstock, man, I was so excited to play Woodstock. It was like I couldn't believe it. And not just playing Woodstock, but playing Woodstock with one of the guys who played there, the original Woodstock, and not even one of the like Country Joe and the Fish guys. We're talking about, no offense, Joe, we're talking about the Who at Woodstock.
Right. And John did not enjoy the first Woodstock.
He did not enjoy. Well, he didn't mind the press part of this one. Well, I said to
the
him,
first one though, With the Who.
We're on.
You
No,
can't hear
no, he
yourself.
hated that. It was the best of festivals. It was the worst of festivals. We're on the bus, right, and we're heading up to the site. And I said, "Come on, man, we're going back to Woodstock. Aren't you excited?" No.
Yeah.
And I said, "Why? Why not?" I said, "Because it's gonna sound like shit." And he was right, because you don't get a sound check. You're playing. We were in an airplane hangar, so at least we were, we were on the other stage, and I mean, you can see that one shot. It goes all its people as far as you can see, 300,000 people. I'm sure some of them didn't even know we were there, but it was Woodstock. Well, at the end of it, it was. John was real good through the whole thing, but once it was over, that was it. He hit that frickin' Remy bottle like you don't want to know. And we had to do, there's a row of press, like if you've ever been to an outdoor art show or any of that stuff where they have the 10 by 10 tent, everybody has one of those. And there's 50, 80 news outlets there from all over the world. So, and you walk down and they take you into the one that you're going to, and it's just nuts. And John, we did it for so long. John had this green cup, lime green, fluorescent lime green, like with this much Remy in it. And he was just getting legless.
Yeah. So,
And we kept having Suzanne take the cup away from us. And, you can't go in there with this cup.
Right.
It's got branding on it. And then she would conveniently disappear, and they'd say, "Okay, let's go to the next one. We're going to do Rolling Stone or MTV Japan or whatever." And he, no. Where's my cup? Where's Suzanne?
There's Suzanne with my cup.
So and if you were looking closely, you saw Terrence McBride on the stage, who. He was the band photographer,
Yeah.
and a lot of the stuff that we're including in the packaging of the new record is most of it is stuff that Terry shot that no one's ever seen before. So we're having some fun.
Yeah.
Having some fun. And let's see. The funny thing is, I was scanning through those videos just for the articles, and I saw Alan McKendry in one of them on the bus with his camera.
With the strippers?
With the strippers, yeah. Anyway,
Wow.
so he made the cut. Anyway, so there's that.
No, it looks like it stopped raining.
Yeah, it does look like it
Windy,
stopped raining.
Kitty asked if it's raining hard. Oh, it's raining hard now and windy where she is.
Oh, I see. Well, listen, everybody gets a little.
Yeah, it's passed us by.
The rain falls on the just and the unjust alike.
Mm-hmm.
So.
All right. Well, next on our hit list.
Well, we're just rifling through them. Is that what it is? Woodstock. I mean, that was. Oh, so let me give you the punchline to Woodstock. Okay, maybe I've told this, maybe I haven't, but we get word that Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers wants us, our rhythm section, John and I, to come over and set up on that stage and play with, I guess, Chad's, with the Chili Peppers. So I'm thinking, man, if we didn't hit MTV News for just being the return to Woodstock, jamming with the Chili Peppers, this is going to be ridiculous, right? And the crew was all ready, and they brought the trucks over and all the stuff to the other stage. They had the stuff staged on the, there's like a walkway that the trucks unload onto. The crew had all the stuff, John's bass rig, my stuff, all ready to go. And I guess things started to get a little out of control. And they said, we're not going to do this. It's getting a little hairy. So we said, okay. So we left, and we drove home. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, this is going to be... Well, because, right, we had John... We went home from there, didn't we? Mm-hmm. And he went to whatever the...
Hotel.
Yeah, the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
John loves a hotel. And so we're watching MTV and VH1 and MTV, just waiting, just wait here. And the triumphant return of Who bassist John Entwistle, 30th. And so we turn it on, and what do we see? Fire, rape, water, $5 water, horror. It was like, okay. So,
And they're wanting you to turn it up.
turn what up?
Oh,
The
no,
music?
I don't know.
Turn what up? My mic? No.
Can you turn the volume up a little bit?
Yeah.
Chanel says, or
Yeah, I
it's
can.
on his end. I said it's on his end because I was listening and I could hear it.
Yeah, well,
And
we have a
Kitty
different
said-
volume control than
Well,
he
she
has.
said she had to turn up her volume on her cell phone.
Oh, goodness.
It's hard to hear me.
Oh, I can fix that. I've been fixing it. Go ahead, talk.
That's weird.
Can you hear her now? How you like me now?
Hey, oh, you want me to talk?
No,
Can
no,
you
I
hear
just
me
said
now?
talk so that you would.
Brenda can hear.
Okay, well, listen, you know, it's this is not broadcast that we're used to. This is, I feel like we're doing pirate radio
Yeah.
off of London. Have you seen that movie
Oh, that's a great movie.
with Philip Seymour Hoffman? Great rock and roll film. So, and
Yeah.
true, absolutely true. What those guys did was nuts.
Yeah.
And they really are responsible for guys like John and the Beatles and everybody else hearing our rhythm and blues music for the first time.
Wow.
They used, yeah, that's how that started.
Yeah.
They used to anchor outside the 3 mile limit or whatever it was, and they had all this broadcast equipment, and they would play all the music from the States. Pirate radio. Check it out.
It's a
I
great
wouldn't,
movie,
I
yeah.
wouldn't steer you wrong. I
Yeah.
wouldn't steer you wrong.
Okay, Pat
Okay.
Kirby says your volume's fine, Steve.
Well,
And Kitty
well,
says
thank
I
you.
can hear Steve fine. I guess she couldn't hear me.
Well, you know,
Well,
maybe you ought to get a nice mic. I'm kidding. You're fine.
I'm fine.
You are fine.
Okay. Well, I'll
Well,
sit
so-
a little closer to the mic.
Oh, I see.
How about that?
Come on a little closer.
I was like reclining.
Yeah, so we've decided before I carry on with the and so, well, I realize the next thing I'm going to play is kind of long, so I might have to break it up. I might break it into 2 parts. So, ooh, what could that be, Steve? Well, anyway, we're tomorrow for Throwback Thursday. We decided to go to Laura Kay's. We're going to do Laura Kay's show. If you remember her show, she was great. Last July she was on, and
Yeah, singer, purple hair,
and you know, Mark's been on. Mark Wood,
her husband.
the rock and roll violinist of all time, and you know, and their kid plays drums for Shania Twain. So wow, you know,
Yeah.
it's amazing. It's a musical family like you don't want to believe. Well, you can believe it. It's true. So there you go. So now tell me what's next.
Oh, next is your interview with Pete
No, me
Johnson
and Petey chatting.
about John.
This is wow, yeah. This was amazing, amazing day. I mean, Pete. I remember the first time I met Townsend. I said to John, "He's okay, man." He said, you met one of the nice ones."
There's that.
Yeah, so there is that. So anyway, this I thought you would find interesting. This is from the director's cut of Ox's Tail, and since I was the director, I cut this, and now you can see it, right?
Yep. Okay.
Here it comes. Me and Pete.
Without further ado.
Yeah, and notice the smashed Rickenbacker on the wall.
Very well, and I recall thinking that maybe it would last for 30 minutes. I never thought it would exceed 3 hours. In this first clip, we're talking about John making his own first bass, being on the road, living the life.
Shit.
and
Hey, wait on.
how music was
Pirate
really the
radio.
voice
I'll tell
of
you
John's
what.
nature.
I have to stop.
What happened after the tragedy?
No, quiet down, Pete. Quiet down.
Made his
Pete, shut up.
Pete, take it easy for a minute. I'm not ready for you yet.
That's right.
Yeah.
Go sit over there.
Yeah, just sit down and be patient, and I'll be right with you.
Yeah.
There's the
boy.
Rickenbacker. This is
Okay.
what happens when you when you screw up. All right, now here we go. There you go, mate. Am I right? I'm right enough.
Yes.
Okay.
You're right.
And you're bloody well right. All right, here we go. From the top. And blah, blah, blah. Oh, Director's Special Edition.
recall thinking that maybe it would last for 30 minutes. I never thought it would exceed 3 hours. In this first clip, we're talking about John making his own first bass, being on the road, living the life, and how music was really the voice of John's nature.
What happened after the trad jazz years, the trumpet, the bass, is that he made his own first bass with his own hands, you know. Great over-length bass with very, very long strings. And his passion at the time was that he wanted to be a lead guitarist, but and could have been a lead guitarist, of course, but decided to defer. You know, he knew I could play really good guitar, and we were in a band where Roger was the lead guitarist. And Roger was not a bad player at all. He wasn't a great player, but he was a good guitar player, good lead guitar player, and was charismatic as a guitar player. So, and we were in his band, so John had to defer and pick up something else. So he picked up the bass and started to tinker about with the bass. And you very quickly got the feeling that, okay, he's playing the bass, but he's not really playing the bass. You know, this is something else. And what he realised was that he had the power to change the fucking instrument. He could change the instrument. You know, you don't change the trumpet. You can buy all the different versions that there already are. But, you know, as he went on to do when he had the money, he just had every thought that was possible, didn't he? But, you know, the trumpet had evolved over hundreds of years, as the guitar had, but, you know, the bass guitar was a relatively new. It was invented probably by Fender or somebody, you know, Leo Fender, or one of those guys probably decided to invent the bass. The bass appears, and it's already, it's a new, brand new thing. He started to change it. I mean, he started to play it differently, hold it differently. He held his pick like that. He had this completely different wrist technique to everybody else. You know, bass players were still aping the upright. They were just kind of going like that. And so you'd see these bass players kind of go, most unattractive position. The most unattractive thing is to see a man going like that. How cool is this? You know, that's all right. That looks pretty cool, but so John, you know, dropped it down, started to kind of, and you know, it's kind of looking at him playing the bass and kind of, this guy looks cool playing the bass. He looks cool. You know, there were no cool-looking bass players. It was a contradiction in terms. Girls just wanted to fuck the singer or the drummer. The singer because he was gorgeous, the drummer because he would last longer.
He pointed
You know
at
what I mean?
me.
It's like,
What is that?
nobody ever would look at a bass player, ever. And suddenly, you know, you realise actually there's a lot of girls in the audience. I'm talking about our early pub gigs, like looking at John, finding him attractive, finding him charismatic. But he changed the instrument. This is more about changing the way that you play it, hold it, express it, and what it's for, you know, opening the sound up. He was quite capable of playing basic bass, you know, as you can hear right the way through the Tommy album, which I mixed in surround last year. The bass playing is very what you call workmanlike. But, you know, when he really wanted to go for it, on the Who's first album, on that track, The Ox, you know, the Keith and John and I playing together with the late Nicky Hopkins, you know, the sound is explosive, you know, and the sound from the bass is wiry. It was a Dan Electro. On that short scale, he played it like a guitar. So, what's my point? My point is that he believed that he could express himself through his situation, that he had power over his situation, and that where he learnt that was through the guitar. So I think being on stage with a guitar, with a big amplifier, with, you know, it became his voice, but not just the voice of his musicianship, the voice of his nature. You know, it was who he was. And so you didn't get the complete John until you got that.
We continued to talk about John and his sound and exactly how important it was to the sound of The Who and what it might take to reproduce it.
I think a lot of people don't understand that the Who's sound in the halcyon years was, with John's open harmonic sound, is that what he was doing is he was playing like a Bach organ. It was rich with harmonics, huge, massive, rich sound which would start the head going, and you'd hear all these kind of like a psychedelic thing happening, like a shaman thing, like the thing I often talk about Jimi Hendrix. You go and see Jimi Hendrix play and you see what he's playing, you think, well, I'm not hearing what he's playing, I'm hearing more than that. That was what happened with John. Didn't happen in the studio because you put it all on tape, but in a room you would start to hear things coming out of what John was playing. It's all to do with the way that harmonics function in large rooms, you know. It's not a particularly happy period for Who fans when the Who went out in '89 with a 14-piece band. But I listened to the recordings that we did of Love Rain on Me and I Can See for Miles, which has a 6-part backing vocals. You can't do it with 3 voices. There are 6 parts in contradistinction. That's what makes it such a great record. And they're great recordings. But John is not wanging away with open harmonics. He's playing the bass. He sounds like Pino Palladino. He's playing boom, boom, boom. You know, he knew what to do. He was a fucking musician. The thing is that when there was just the 3 of us, as a band, just 2 instruments, Pete and John, the only thing with strings was Pete and John, he had to do what he did. Otherwise we would have needed a band. For my music, we certainly, I don't know about his writing, but for my writing, God, we would have needed 20 musicians up there to get that kind of, at low level. What happened on the '89 tour was I said to Roger, I said, I'll come out and tour with you guys. I said, but I don't want the level to go above 100 dB. And he said, well, that's no problem, we'll just make John turn down. I said, no, it will be a problem, because if you make John turn down, you'll lose the harmonics. We have to add the harmonics with other instruments. People didn't like it, but that was the only way that we could do it. It's the only way that we could get the harmonic richness was to add trumpets, brass, a second guitar, an acoustic guitar, 2 keyboards, backing vocals, people banging gongs, because that's what John used to replicate. All of that stuff, you know, he'd play that bass and you'd hear all of this stuff. Don't want to take this too far. You know, I don't want to turn this into, an absurd, overdone eulogy, but this is, I've worked with this guy from the very, very beginning. Like when he first started to, he discovered wire wound strings, which came with the Dan Electro short scale guitar, and they put guitar strings on it, or tenor guitar strings, and he kind of went dang, 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 dang. Started to do his little Dwayne Eddy impersonations, and I remember saying to him, it sounds fucking great, but it wasn't a bass sound, not as we know it.
John was really the ultimate showman. He loved dressing for stage, flashy wardrobe, and certainly showing off on his bass and watching the reaction on the fans' faces when he did it.
John was a bit of a peacock and a bit of a show-off, so, as were we all. So, and only because it worked. I don't think it was, he was a peacock. Like I said, when the first time I met him, I remember thinking, he's a snappy dresser.
Big Johnny Twinkle.
Yeah, but I don't think that's it. I don't think it wasn't like a character defect. It was just that he was a snappy dresser. If he'd been in the Mafia, it would have been a different story.
As a musician, John Entwistle was a lot more than just fast. He had a huge musical palette to draw from, as Pete points out in this next clip.
John's stuff was far more than just, I can play really fast. He started to work out that double stopping thing that he started to do, started to produce, that because you would have worked with him, he could produce these rich harmonics that way, at any level.
Oh, this whole bit that he used to do up and down the neck.
You'd hear all the and these huge numbers of multiple harmonics coming up, and you're dealing with a lot of it, of course, was beyond his realm of hearing, certainly beyond mine, but very, very rich cascades of harmonics. And when I first did the first few shows without him, with Pino on the bass, who uses a much more normal bass sound, for a while I just loved kind of running around in this space that John had created. But then after I realised, I have to fill this air. So I've had to pick up some of the things that John did, and now I'm doing all kinds of flashy little, I'm doing triplet cascades all the time, all over the guitar like some kind of kid, in a guitar store. I'm thinking, this isn't what I do, but I have to fill the air, because there's otherwise these great holes where I go, cha-cha-chang, which is great, but it's a big gap. When's the next one coming? Cha-cha-chang, another big gap. If you have the cha-cha-chang with the like the didgeridoo, drone, the sound of the world turning, which is what you got from John. You got, the Who fan will understand this, but most people will just think this is just musical gibberish.
At this
So now this is, I'm just going to interrupt here for a second. This is a very interesting thing. Because I had never asked John this question about my generation. And, Pete, I mean, let me tell you this. This is a 15-minute cut of our conversation that happened after we edited Ox's Tail. He rang me up, and said, come on over on December 21st, which I got a crew and we went over there and did the whole thing. And I thought we'd be lucky if we were there, I don't know, 20 minutes. And we were talking 3.5 hours. So maybe there's a documentary of the rest of this, because there's what you see in Ox's Tail, and this totals about maybe 25 minutes. There's 3 more hours of us just, doing doing the hang and bullshitting. It was, it's like the show, only there was a camera there, and it happened to be Pete Townsend.
point, we have been talking about songwriting, and Pete told me that he used to present demos to the other members of The Who. That made me ask him about John's bass solo on My Generation.
One thing that I wanted to ask, because you mentioned My Generation, you demoed that at home before you brought it in?
Yeah, I demoed it 3 times.
So how did you demo it with the bass solo?
Oh yeah.
You
but
did?
But it was a cruddy old bass solo. That I
But
did.
it was in your mind to have it, because I mean that's the
Oh yeah,
vocal
no.
range.
By then, the incident with the Dan Electro had already happened. I don't know how it had happened, but John had given me the other bass that he'd been developing, which was a Fender 6/6 string. He just said, this isn't working, you can have it. And I was using that as my bass. And he'd found the Dan Electro. And when the strings wore out, he had to buy another one. Because you go and you say, could I have a new set of strings like this? And they go, no, we don't make them. They only made them for the bass. So he bought 3 in a row and he had one still for around the time that we did the session. So it was written for the Dan Electro short string bass. It was like a little thing, there's going to be a little Dwayne Eddy bit in the middle. And I think on the demo, the bass solo is naive. I think I go diddle 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 dung 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 dung, like I kind of just saying, this is your bit, John, and then he did it live.
Now that's interesting. This is interesting too. And let's check it out. If you're enjoying it, take a look.
We had gotten back to talking about playing live when Pete tells a story about trading licks with John and how John's style continued to evolve throughout his career.
As long as he could hear me, which was he couldn't always hear me very well, but that thing you were saying about challenging across, you play something, he plays something, and then you'd kind of have a little war, as you put it. What I always found is that there was nothing that I could ever play that he couldn't immediately replicate. And I've always found that dismaying. And towards the end, I started to think, yeah, he's not as good at it anymore. And then I said to Bobby, tonight, put one of my stacks over his side, And I said to John, just for a laugh, can we do this? And just like the old days. And he said, yeah, okay. And I said, I'll just throw a few things at you at the gig. And I did it. I just immediately, I'd go.
Conversation.
Couldn't do it the other way round. He'd go, and I kind of go, okay, thank you, conversation over. He was, I saw somebody on the TV the other day playing the guitar, and they barred with that finger and went like that. And I thought, seen that before? John was doing that 20 years ago. 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And then he started, to move these fingers. So he's doing barring that are moving. And then double harmonics, dividing the string up and then working out where the harmonic was. So you're getting unbelievable stuff. He was still working with that stuff and experimenting. And a lot of it, as you rightly said too, was very, very rhythmic. It was simply rhythmic. It wasn't kind of Indian raga rhythms or anything, but it was complex and fast. Simple and complex. It was simple, but it was very fast. Very, very fast.
Having played in the John Entwistle Band for so many years, I was certainly no stranger to John's volume.
And he never, ever, 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 on any show that I've ever done with John, under any circumstances, has ever been difficult to hear. So, I've always, and if there's ever been a scenario in which I've been unable to hear him, I would walk across in mid-show and say, John, turn up. And sometimes he'd go, Roger's just had a go at me. And I'd go, John, turn up. And walk back. And he'd go like this. Turn up, you know.
At this point, we're about 3 hours into the conversation. Pete's becoming a bit melancholy and reflective, talking about how important John was in his life and certainly in his career.
I want to do something else and be in some other place. And because there was that feeling, as I said earlier, of him being, if it's this good, if the life is this good and this much fun and this, then it's got to entangle you. You know, that's what the mystics say, isn't it? That what's difficult for us is that when we die, we're still entangled in life. So I hope he's managed to get himself untangled, because he was pretty tangled in the end. And, you know, go on to do whatever it is he's going to do next. I'm sure he'll be as much fun, you know, as a female ballet dancer in Taiwan, I don't know, whatever he's going to do next, as he was as my very, very, very good friend in this band, and before that at school. You know, he was such a... You know, I was able to say to his mum the other day, you know, I reserve the right to say bad things about John. You know, I love him so much. I'm so grateful to him. And he was such a great supporter of mine. You know, I said earlier on, say it again, I couldn't have done it without him. I wouldn't have done it without him. I would have done some other stuff, and I probably would have done some interesting stuff, but I would never... The music, I needed him to constantly tell me that I could do it and that I was good at it, you know. And that, yeah.
Yeah,
Hanging out with Petey.
that's right.
And you can see, I guess, I don't remember where I edited the parts from, but as I said, we were probably well into the 3 hours of the conversation, and you can see how, you know, it's not like an interview. It wasn't supposed to be an interview. The things that we do here are not supposed to be interviews. They're supposed to be you getting a glimpse at what actually happens on a daily level. So that's the same conversation that we'd have in the green room at the garden, or, well, whatever. And there's actually part of that interview in Amazing Journey, and it's a whole nother story for a whole nother time. But if you watch that, you'll notice the Rickenbacker in the background, and there you go. So yeah, that was an interesting day, man. And Pete was cool. You know, what can I say?
Got chills.
Yeah, that's John. Yeah, you got some genuine Pete there. You know, you didn't get the upstart, you know, angry artist. You got a guy talking about his friend that he truly misses, you heard it. I couldn't have done it without him. I wouldn't have done it without him. So,
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. And, you know, and look, they had an amazingly weird friendship, and it's, you know, it's not for me to really speak on it, but I do know at the end of the day they cared for each other a lot, and they pissed each other off a lot, and it's, you know, but
Kind of like brothers.
yeah, kind of like brothers or other bands
Yeah, or other
that
babies.
I've been in.
That's how we know.
No. Anyway, so let's see. Well, 7:47.
With the plane.
Yeah, I feel like I'm singing. Who does that song? 747. All right.
I
Anyway.
have no idea.
Oh, it's one of those. I don't know. Anyway. Well, so, yeah, I thought it was fitting that we do the Johnny show today.
I think John thought so too. He was making it.
Man,
everywhere.
I gotta tell you, that's. Sometimes I'm sitting out, you know, if I'm sitting outside, I'll take my phone with me just so that I stay on track with the time. And a couple of times, you know, around this time, you get, you know, the 10, 15-minute light show. And so I'll flip my phone up and take some video of it. It's, you know, but boy, I missed this one. This was like, it sounded like it went off right over the side of the house. It was like crazy. And but that, we're the lightning capital of the world.
Okay, now Pat Curry says CCR. What are those initials for?
BCR?
No, CCR. What does that mean, Pat?
Creedence Clearwater, that's who it was. 70. Thank you. That was, yes.
Oh, okay.
And John loved John Fogerty's voice.
Yeah,
he
did.
really I love that guy. It was like,
Yeah,
what?
Pat says playing in a traveling band.
Right, that's right.
Right.
That's right.
Okay.
Thank you. You see, it's a symbiotic thing. I can't do this without you. Because I'd be sitting here, just tell you 747. But I knew you guys. This is what we do.
That's right.
So let's see. We're putting together an interesting website for the release of the record. We're not going to make an August release because there's some stuff going on, so it's going to be pushed back a little bit. But I have a meeting tomorrow with the label. How weird is that? I mean, I haven't even said that in 20 years. But the meeting tomorrow with the label, and well, I guess I've said it once. And we're going to discuss how to roll this thing out. Now, if you guys follow Deco Entertainment, it's DEKO. They roll something out every day. They've got everything from the Vanilla Fudge to Tiffany,
Yeah, they do.
who Chris Entwistle thinks my wife looks like.
Well, yeah, when he first met me.
Well, he was a kid. Called her Tiff.
Called me Tiff.
Oh, Tiff. Gave her his school jacket. Oh, did you give that back?
No, I
You
still
still
have it.
have it? We should send it to him. Yeah. Oh, man. And let me tell you what, Chris, it's been, I get to still talk to an Entwistle, which may seem trivial,
Yeah,
but
he's
it's
got
really
a lot of
not.
John in there.
Yeah, it's just, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. He's an amazing guy and an amazing friend, and we designed, or we conceived the album cover together, and I can't wait for you to see that. I don't think it's leaked out yet,
No, it has not.
but it's just put your thinking cap on, and John Entwistle, Rarities Exhumed. What is that album cover going to look like? I know. Okay. So, what's next?
So, do you have more Pete's interview?
No,
or-
Pete's done.
Okay.
I just played the whole thing.
Vampires.
Vampires what? The intro thing?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, this is only a few minutes long. This is the intro and the outro, and this corresponds with the song that we played at the beginning. Do you remember the song at the beginning? Of course you do. And, man, I should have played that clip. I should have played the Endless Vacation clip. And I'll tell you about that song. It's not not the first song I ever wrote on the phone. Mark and I were in my studio in New York, and it was when sampling first started to happen, and I had a whatever it was, an S9000 or something, an Akai sampler, and I had all these bass solos on DATs from the road, and I took a piece and I basically hip hopped it, and the two bass parts, I just took those and made one be the verse and one be the chorus, and then we wrote, the chords in the middle, bam, 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 when I got to England. But I called John up, he was in California, and I said, we just wrote a song together, and he said, we who? And I said, us, you and me. We did.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Pat Curry said that he recorded all episodes of Vampires.
Oh. Well, that's cool.
Thank you, Shar.
Oh, thank you. I love that one. I like this one.
Thank you.
Yes,
Four
indeed.
Wow.
What happened?
She sent 4 batches of stars.
Oh, batches. Where's the huge stars? Oh, well. You do.
Okay, thank you.
You do.
Sure. She just got in the house.
Oh, okay. Well, you'll have to rewind, be kind and rewind. So this is the, in the Entwistle Band, you heard Pete say that John was always expanding on his sound, and it's the truth. Every time we did anything, it was a whole new rig, it was a whole new this, it was a whole new that, and he loved, you've seen The Shining. It's The Shining with a bass rig. And he used to sit down there and crank that thing either in the studio or more likely in the bar and just try out all this new gear and different effects and different speakers. And he was so into it, and amazing to, when, he was like a little kid. Oh, I just got these ASS speakers and Trace Elliott 1,000,000-watt amps, and then he went to Ashdown, and it was fun. And he really was. He was experimenting with his sound until the very end. And even the opening of this song is him using that hip shop. Well, it's actually...
Tom Heinisch just said Laurie's mic is too low. Yeah, they were telling me that
Raise it
earlier.
up. That's weird, because it shouldn't be.
Well, we'll fix it for tomorrow night.
Well, wait a minute. Since Tom's here, I can tell me if this is her mic. Did I just turn her mic up? Because it says sound effect. Speak.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
No. Yes. Yes. No. No. Yes, friends. Well,
No,
we'll work
this
it out for
still
tomorrow.
sounds like I'm in the background.
Well, don't blame it on
Oh
me.
well.
We'll work it out for tomorrow.
Okay.
So yeah. Well, anyway, yeah. Okay. So this was, when we did this song, and it's funny. It's the song is in the run out. We did one song for every episode of the show. The theme song was always the same in the beginning, horror rock. But whatever song they used in the episode, they would use in the credit roll. So this particular one happens to have Endless Vacation, and what we did, it was funny because we had already done Left for Dead with the original verses, the X-rated spy verse, the X-rated cowboy verse, and the X-rated wife verse. And we did the long run out of My Wife, and so we had done My Wife, and then at the end of this, he decided, if you listen to the lyrics in Endless Vacation, you find out a few things. But at the end of it, he wanted to, we did the stops and Won't Get Fooled Again. Bap, bap, bap. And the no was his bass on a wah-wah pedal. I'm rocking the wah-wah pedal back and forth, and he's playing. So anyway, that's what this is. And I was very proud that we did this show, because we were wanting to stretch out and do cool stuff, and this was a cool thing to do. And I wonder if we damaged any children in the process.
Oh, no,
I hope not.
When a mysterious meteor crashes into a lonely junkyard, derelict vans and cars take on human-like life. The vampires suck the gas from innocent cars to feed their need for speed and drain the planet of all its fuel. Only 4 teenagers, transformed by the meteor, stand between the vampires and a world sucked dry and running on empty. Part team, part car, all hero. The motivators must fight the night to save the day. So check your fear and get in gear. The vampires are here.
I was just a kid with a bass guitar, burning illusion. Just a kid on a shooting star, never the mission. Nobody told me life up here was an vacation.
And there we go.
Yeah.
And we did it all in less than an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, and we had, man, it was, we had a
Gail
blast.
says it must have been surreal to have your names on the credits.
Yeah, it was, it was surreal. Let me tell you what, that whole 15 years was surreal. And now that more time has passed than we spent, it's surreal. So anyway,
Well, that tonight flew by.
yeah, tonight flew by, and you see, we got the blessing, the lightning, and the thunder was amazing, but it didn't take out any of the stuff. So thanks for that, Johnny.
Yep.
And for you guys, tomorrow, Laura Kay, Throwback Thursday,
Singer
the coolest
Laura Kay.
purple hair. I mean, you know, and like I said, that's a musical family. Elijah, Mark,
Yes.
Laura, they're all players, and so tune in tomorrow, and we'll be here watching with you. And if I don't see you in the future, I'll see you in the pasture.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, kids.